watching the recording, hears this. We're going to get started. This is the how-to guide to complete your CPD log live, or you might be watching this recording. This is for the Atlantic region. This is for specifically CPHR Newfoundland and Labrador, PI, and Nova Scotia. So we will get started, but at any time during this presentation, please feel free to jump in. We're just going to go through some tips and tricks. We're going to talk about some reminders, and then we're going to do a live example of entering in some hours. So let's get started. So today we've got 3 facilitators. Since I'm speaking already, I'll introduce myself. I'm Nick Bainan. I'm the CEO of CPHR Nova Scotia. I'll pass it to Serena.
Hi, for those who don't know, I am the Atlantic Administrative Coordinator. So you probably emailed me because I work with all 3 provinces essentially. So yeah, that's me.
Perfect. Thank you, Serena. Beth?
Hi, everyone. I'm Beth Greeley, the Member Relations Manager with CPHR Nova Scotia.
Awesome. Okay. So the next slide, this is the website that you'll want to go to. You're welcome to do it now because I think some of the tips that we'll give you, it might be timely, and you can just initiate our tips and tricks right away and start completing your log about a month early. So it will be due next month. So that's the website there. It's CPHR Atlantic, cpdlog.ca. And I will turn it over to Serena, who's going to walk us through some reminders.
Yeah. So this year, essentially, with the rolling 3, will be the hours from 2022, 2023, and 2024 in this year's submission. And for the due dates, essentially, for Prince Edward Island, you need to hand in your CPD log by the end of January. For Newfoundland and Labrador, as well as Nova Scotia, you have to hand it in by January 15. And as the other years, it's a minimum of 10 hours per year. However, as you're supposed to have 60 hours over the 3-year rolling period, we do recommend you to have 20. That way you know that you're covered regardless which year you're in or what you did last year, etc. And then another reminder is that your CPD hours, if you submit everything under one category, say you submit everything under learning, just make sure that it links to at least 3 of the competency areas, which you can see in this circle here. In addition, there's the mandatory ethics requirements. So we do have, actually this year, we have a new ethics course that just rolled out. And since it's mandatory to all CPHRs, CPHR Canada has a complimentary course. So anybody who either hasn't done their ethics in a couple of years, or you might be curious on or you just haven't done it at all, please let us know and we'll send you a link essentially. And then in addition, there is a online declaration which you'll see once you go into the platform.
Awesome. Thank you, Serena. I'm just going to share one myth or one misunderstanding. This minimum 3 of the 9, sometimes our members get that confused with the learning category. So someone might think, oh, I have to have volunteer and, classroom training and maybe a project, and that's my 3. So it's not 3 different types of learning, but it's 3 areas of learning. So your entire submission could be classroom. It could be entirely projects. It could just be in one category, but in that category, you need to link it to a minimum of 3 competency areas, such as the examples you see there. Perfect. Thank you, Serena. And now we're going to move on to tips. So just a few tips and tricks, and Beth is going to walk us through that.
Yeah, so just a reminder that there's no maximum for projects, but the duration should be included in the entry if you're adding a project. And then with that project, just a couple key details, a brief overview, how it's new and how it relates to HR, as well as ticking off the competencies that we just talked about. And when entering a course, include where you took it from, post-secondary, if it was an organization, post-secondary institution, governing body, etc. And when you're entering volunteer time, be sure to include duration and frequency. So if you did this throughout the year, write that. Say, you started January 1st to December 31st and put in like monthly meetings, 1 hour, 2 hours, as much information as possible, because there is a committee that reviews these who are not familiar with what you do. So it helps them understand what it is you're submitting. And to that point, don't use acronyms. Things that may be familiar to you are not familiar to others. So if you have an internal jargon, please write it out. And just include all information in the description field. Like I said, the more information, the better. And when it comes to the projects and volunteering, I'd like to add, if you volunteer on the same committee every year, you need to put an entry for every single year. So you may have been doing this for 4 years, but just put in every calendar year. That way you get the right hours for each year, because it helps with your 10 hours every year.
Okay. Well done, Beth.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to do a sample together, and I'm going to, and with Beth, you might have to nudge me. I'm going to demonstrate a few of those tips that you shared. So I'm going to take down this this PowerPoint and bring up my browser. We're going to go into my account. Just bear with me as I switch windows. All right, if someone can confirm they can see my account. You see Good Morning Nicholas up at the top?
We do.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. So I'm going to click Enter Hours. And Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, you've seen this all before. PI folks, this is probably the first time you're seeing it, and this will be your first time submitting in this tool. So actually, sorry, let me just, no, I'm going to keep doing an example. So you've got 6 categories to put your activity into. So I am going to do probably the most common one that we see first. So that's under the learning category. So let's say I did a conference last week. So I'm going to go into learning, and then you've got different options here. I'm under this one, B, seminars, workshops, webinars, conferences. So I'm going to put in a conference. And you'll see, as Beth said, there's no limit. So that's perfect. I am going to say I went on Thursday, and it was a 1 day. So it was Thursday to Thursday. And I will put, I don't know, annual conference. And put on by CPHR PEI. So duration, start and end time. So this started at, I don't know, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Brief description. So, I'm not going to take up the time to write this whole thing, but, this is an annual conference for HR covering trending topics, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just going to mash my keyboard for now. And it was a full day. We had a half-hour lunch. I was kind of shy, so I didn't network, so I'm not going to count that as networking hours. I'm just going to say it was 7.5 hours. And so this is where you have to hit the minimum 3. So in this particular conference, lucky me, it wasn't just a recruitment conference. It was a conference that touched on many topics. So I can satisfy my 3 just in this one entry right here. So I'm going to say we touched on that, we touched on this, and maybe there's some workforce planning. And I'm going to do another one. So you can hit submit and return to the dashboard, but I'm going to do another example. So I will hit submit and create another. And then I'm off to my next one. The next example I will use, which is also a very popular one, probably number 2, is a project. I'm going to use a multi-year project just to play out some examples that Beth was sharing in her tips. So I'm choosing one. I've only got one option here. It's new projects. Some of the folks that have been around for a long time, we used to have ongoing. That's gone now. It has to be new, new to you. And I'm going to say this started in, I'll just say it started at the end of last year. So I got a few hours from last year in the month of December, and it's going to wrap up at the end of this year. So this is project, I don't know, Project Avocado. Why not? This was at CPHR Nova Scotia. So I've got to talk about the objectives. So increasing employee, I'm just making this up, engagement through DEI initiatives. Make sure I get my spelling right. Engagement surveys saw a 10% improvement. Again, I'm not going to worry about the finer details, but you can see, so I've already made a mistake, right? So like Beth, one of her tips was to break it up over multiple entries, right? So I've got year one here. So I've got 1 month in December of last year, and then the remainder is this whole year. So I should break that up, right? So I should, if this is my entry one, I'm going to do just that first month. So December 1st to December 31st of 2023. And in that 1 month, I was able to, put in 20 hours into the project. And then I click off probably that one and this one. And then I'd hit submit and create another one. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pretend that I have. And then I'm doing the remainder of the next one, right? So this was this spread over 2 years. So I'm moving into 2024 now. I'm going to choose January 1st. And this went to the end of the year. This was longer because it was all year. So let's just pretend it was 60. And I'd hit submit and create another one if I have more to enter. So that's it for the tool. But I'm sure many of you have questions, or at least I hope you have questions. So I'm just going to go back to the dashboard, and we can open it up to any questions you might have about any of the tips and tricks that Beth shared, or the dates and the key things to know from Serena, or anything I just demonstrated in the actual tool itself.
I'm just going to jump in real quick with one thing. So after all the activities are entered, you would complete the online declaration to finalize it.
So I don't know if you guys saw that. Maybe I went too fast. Sorry, let me go back. So over on the right hand, just underneath the enter hours, there's a declaration there. So there's my recent declaration. So I submitted my 2023 back on January 12th. 3 days before the deadline, early bird me. And then, so for this year, I'm going to declare this as accurate. I will provide documentation if it's requested by my province and nothing is misrepresented. And I hit submit, and then it's the equivalent of physically signing it. This is password protected, so we know it's 100% you. Beth, great point. Is there anything else that you want me to cover in here? Or Serena?
We do have a question in the chat from Stephanie. Do you complete the declaration once for the year or for each submission?
Once for the year. So after you've entered in, let's say, for instance, I needed to add 5 entries. After I enter the 5, then I just pop in and do my declaration. Great question. Other questions, or from our hosts, anything else? Yeah, for sure. We can put that in the URL in the chat. I will put that in now. There you go. For the PI members, Serena, I think if you can confirm all of they're new to this, but I believe everyone has received in their email their username and password, correct?
Yes, everyone should have their username and password. If you don't, please reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat here as well. So if anybody is missing the link or login, please reach out.
Yeah, and Nova Scotian members, it's the same as your CPHR Nova Scotia website password, and Newfoundland, it's the same as last year. Nothing's changed. And if you do have any issues, there's always a reset your password. And I see a question from Kelly. How does it work for university courses as part of a master's degree? Sure, let's pretend we're doing that. So that would be under learning, number 4, the university course. That would be A. You put the start, the end, the name of the course, you know, the university you're taking it from, the number of instruction hours, a brief description of the course, and then the hours claimed is the number of instruction hours. That should be the same. You click off whichever competency and submit. I see Susan's got her password and username. That's awesome. Stephanie, for the auto entries, do we need to go in and add more competencies or just leave as is? Great question. So I think that's exclusive to the Nova Scotia members, correct, Beth? I don't.
Sorry, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so for the Nova Scotia members, Nova Scotia staff will automatically enter any of your Nova Scotia events that you've registered for. We'll put that in, and we do choose on your behalf which competencies. So really, there's no need to go in, but if you think we've missed one, you can always.
If it was one that I did, then probably it needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
I don't know
Beth,
the competency areas as well.
Can you edit them, Beth, or is it just easier?
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing to show. If you could go back to one of your entries, Nick, and
Sure.
show how to edit it.
Okay. Which one did I just do? Oh my God, it's been a while. Here. So was this the conference one? Yeah, so this is one I just entered. Sorry, let me go back. I don't know if I've ever edited before, but on the right in this box here, so I should actually probably share this with all the PI. So on the left, it shows your rolling 3 years, right? So your overall progress on the rolling 3. So we have to have 60 in a rolling 3. So I'm at 113, perfect. And then the next box, this column here, is my 2024 hours. So I need to exceed the 10, perfect. And if you do the drop down, you can see, make sure that the previous year was above 10 and the previous after that. And then the next one, there's like a history of each of your entries. We're going to pretend that I misentered the last one. So I'm going to view that, and I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to say, you know what? It wasn't employee relations. I lied. It was total health and wellness. I'm going to update it. Entry updated right there as confirmation. Perfect. Let me go back to the home page, and done. I see Beth, you've answered a question online. Okay. Any other questions? I think another common one we have, and I can just demonstrate it. A lot of HR is just, I mean, it's fantastic times for HR, I believe. Like, you know, COVID was an awful thing, but it's certainly put us at the center of the table. And so I've noticed a lot of volunteer board opportunities are like directly targeting HR professionals and bringing that skill set to boards. So a lot of our members are volunteering on boards. And so I'll just share that example. So number 3 for governance, board service. This is one where in the past we've had members enter in each meeting, and that in this tool that would be very painful. You know, if you have a meeting every month, that's 12 entries. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be a little lazy, or call it smart. I'm going to say January 1st to December 31st. You can see right here, it even guides you through it. Include dates and hours spent per meeting, and then anything outside. So I'm just gonna write here. We had 12 meetings. I'm gonna keep the math easy. 1 hour each. this was board such and such. Or sorry, this is my title. So director at large, board save the planet. And then I'd go boom, boom. Maybe we did that. And so it's 12 meetings. I'm just going to put them all in one entry. So that was 12 hours claimed for the entire year. That's not true, so I'm going to exit out of that. I have not saved the planet this year. So Tammy is asking, has this changed since the weekend? I'm not sure what you mean, Tammy. Like, has the password changed? Like the website? I'm not sure.
Yeah, the website. I was on the weekend entering my hours and I logged in through the same login,
Yeah.
but I didn't get this lovely pretty page. What I got was I had to go up to my profile and click into a form through there. And now none of my hours and stuff are showing. Although some of the content was the same, it didn't look this clean and nice.
Is there a chance, Tammy, that somehow you found a backdoor entrance to the old Newfoundland tool? Was it the old tool?
I had the same login as at the beginning of this. So where, you put in your username and your password. I didn't remember my password, so I did the recheck, but it was CPHR Atlantic. And then it was like, welcome to CPHR Atlantic. But then there was nothing there. And then up where I hit was like, welcome Tammy, that kind of button. I had to click in there and go through something that wasn't as clear as this, and there was no dashboard. It was just a form. And I could just keep clicking add new entry, to add more. And it was giving it to me, and I could edit them and I could see them in a nice little list and stuff. But it did not look like this. And now that I've logged in after seeing this, I have no history.
Yeah. Tammy, do you mind sticking around after? And first,
Sure.
nice to hear your voice. It's nice to engage with someone I'm familiar with. So nice to see you, hear you. Can you stick around after and maybe share your screen? You can just kind of walk us through.
Now when I log in, I'm seeing this. So
Yeah. I don't know if there's a way we can sort of replay how you approach. I don't know. I'm not sure. But
okay.
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Serena.
I do have a little theory. I suspect it's when you click the reset password. So to avoid this, please reach out to us if you do need to reset your password, especially if you're from Prince Edward Island or Newfoundland and Labrador. And I'll send you a password that will avoid any confusion on the websites and stuff like that. I think, yeah, because I think that when you tried to forgot the password, I think it takes you to a different site. I don't think it takes you to this site potentially, if I am right.
Okay. Yeah, Tammy, maybe stick around. It's I'm very keen to figure out what happened there, and just in fear that it might happen to someone else. In the chat, I'm going to put a few helpful documents. So there's a really helpful document called Summary of Qualifying Activities. It's a good guide. I would suggest, I think the site itself is intuitive, but it's nice to have on the side of your desk to say, oh, where does that go? So I'm going to add that into the chat right now. And then the other one is just the competency framework. It might help you figure out some other activities that you've had to help you brainstorm about what else you can include. And the other thing I want to say is this is a bit of a proactive thing that I think would save you a lot of time, but it certainly helps our volunteers. I know I'm just going to speak on my own behalf, but if anyone is out there like me, like I'm an type A personality, and I want to win at everything. And so with this tool, like it's like a bragging opportunity. It feels pretty cool to say, "Oh, you want to see how much I learned, CPHR? You know, whichever province, Nova Scotia for me. You want to see how much I learned? I did this, I did this, and I put so many things in." And I'm just going to encourage you. It's not a competition. There's no. Susan, sorry, there's some feedback. I'm just going to mute you. It's not a competition. It's not like, 300 is the goal to win at this thing. You just have to satisfy, really, you just have to hit 20. If you hit 20 every single year, I would just stop there. There's no real benefit of putting 100 hours per year, even if you can. No one's judging you, no one's assessing you. It's a minimum satisfactory thing. So if you hit 20 with one project, and as long as you have those three competencies, you can stop there. If you want to put one extra thing just in case someone doesn't think that it was worth 20 and you want a little buffer, sure, put another 10 or 20, but you don't have to put everything you did all year. You just have to tick the box that you've done and I say 20, the minimum is 10, but you should shoot for 20 because of that rolling 3 years 60. And it also, as I said, it also helps our volunteers who will review it. It's a lot easier to review 2 entries that add up to 20 versus someone that submitted 15 things that added up to 300. And I'm guilty of that. Maybe you guys you don't have that desire to like win, but I know in the past I've submitted 300 hours. I'm like, I've done so many amazing things. I'm going to win at this. And I now realize as a full-time staff that there's no winning. You got to tick the box. I did it. Well, we've got 1 minute left. Maybe I'll see Beth, Serena, is there anything that we haven't touched that you think we need to cover?
No, I think the only thing I would add is if you're worried about being short on hours, the opposite of what Nick's saying, there is the self-directed learning category. You can claim up to 5 hours each year because we do get emails and calls from people being like, I don't know if I met my hours this year. And it's just a category that is not always obvious. So if you did any self-directed learning, reading HR books or articles, reading the biweekly newsletters, you can claim those hours, and it can be as easy as writing like, January 1st to December 31st is your dates, reading the biweekly newsletter. You don't even need to list the topics, just put 5 hours and yeah.
So I'll share one just as so that's a great point. So self-directed learning. I read the CPHR Nova Scotia industry news articles in the e-newsletter. And this does have a max, as Beth said, so maximum hours, 5 hours per year. So I spent 5 hours reading those and submit, and I'm done. And that right there, just that self-directed learning, you're halfway there. Right, just 5 more to meet the minimum, but again, shoot for the 20. And that's it, everybody. I think Amanda's got her hand up. We'll answer one last question.
Sorry, Nick. There's one question in the chat as well.
Sure. Okay, we'll do 2. But just to be respectful of the time, if anyone needs to step off the call now, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. And if you do have any questions, email us at any time. We're here to help make this process easy. So I'll handle the chat one first from Stephanie. I see that there's a limit for 1 year max in a category. It seems like my 40-hour course through LSI would fall in that category. Should I put it in an alternate category? If you took a course, it's probably under seminar, and there should be no limit. If I understood your chat correctly, that's where I would put it. And there's no limit. You're welcome. Awesome. Amanda, you've got your hand up.
So I'm just wondering, like under the leadership, developing a new course. So would I put the hours into developing the workshop under that, and then actually facilitating the workshop under the teaching and facilitating workshop? So would I break it out like that?
Yeah, that was the old way. We used to credit both the design and then the delivery. You'll see before, and it's probably you probably click this and then jump right into the next area. But before you click it, you'll see there's a note here. Calculate at 1 hour for each hour of first course duration. So the first time you deliver, let's say it's a 3-hour course. The
Yep.
first time you deliver it, that counts as 3. The second time is 0. The third time 0. So basically, how long is the course? And you only count it 1 time. So it may have taken you 10 hours to develop, but you only get credit for the 3 hours you delivered the first time you did it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope this was helpful. As I said, we're not going anywhere. This is our full-time job. We're here to help you make this this administrative burden easier. And we'll stick around for Tammy, but everyone else, you're welcome to sign off. Thank you so much for attending. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.